Ignore the fucking background noise and understand that if you allow things in the background to distract you from your main focus, you are never going to actually make the change within your mind, which is to ignore all outside things and focus on yourself within. If you can get distracted by a hater, if you can get distracted by outside sources seeking to siphon your attention for their own nefarious purpose, you will never attain what you truly are destined to attain. And so when you are locked in on yourself, when you are unfolding your reality in the narrative that you have created for yourself, and every day compounding and becoming the individual to get the shit done, there will be background noise. Just like in any movie, just like in any scenario, there's always going to be background noise. Just like you're watching this video and you hear the music, there will always be background noise. And as the individual who is inhabiting this vessel, as the individual who has now won the race and in reality and is circumnavigating themselves to the reality that they are destined for and that they seek through their development, the compounding and becoming of the individual to attain it, you have to understand that the background noise is always seeking to siphon your attention. It is always seeking to drain you from the potent energy that you have to channel it in itself. You have to understand that when someone has something very valuable, it's a natural human tendency to want it as well. But when the value is now internal, it is no longer an external object. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be took. All it can be is observed and witnessed from the individual who seeks to attain that same thing. When we look at certain individuals, when we look at a higher reference state for ourselves to grow into, when we look at the internal qualities of specific individuals, it is a natural gravitational pull for wanting to attain those same higher qualities. And those higher qualities is what's going to make you a higher quality individual. But when you are at a certain level, you have to understand that people, they want qualities, but they don't want to do the work to attain the same thing. People will do the minimum seeking to gain the maximum. You as the person who puts in maximum and is actively attaining maximum, you have to understand that people will want to drain those qualities and have those qualities. And since they cannot steal it, they will try to siphon it through your attention. And so what you need to do as the individual is say, fuck the noise and focus on your fucking goal. When they seek to drain your attention, this is where you turn into the ignorer archetype, and you ignore all fucking formations of distorted information. So when we look at reality, it's all information entering your brain and then perceiving it externally, right? So we have to understand that when we are existing in this current fucking state of being, you have to understand that everything is literally light. And so the geoelectric magnetic spectrum of light, you have to understand that you are perceiving light and your brain is taking in the information of light and then formalizing it into what the fuck you perceive in front of you. And that's a scientific fucking fact. That's quantum physics. And so we have to understand that you can ignore certain information and you can ignore certain things that you do not want to exist in your fabric of reality. When you are sowing day by day the reality that you're supposed to create, there will be things seeking to distract and retract you and subtract you as an individual. So it's your duty to ignore that, not intake and perceive the information by ignoring the fuck out of whatever the fuck is seeking to make you less. You have to understand that reactionary, impulsive thoughts are the lower version of you, and that will instantly shrink your vibration and contract you, and it will contract the level of operation that you are operating from. No one's going to get as much shit done at the highest level possible if they're sitting there in a state of anger and confusion and stress. You have to be the individual to ignore all outside sources and source within yourself the reality that you seek to exist within, which is embodying the ignorer archetype and ignoring everything that is not in alignment with your personal pursuit of every fucking goal your soul demands that you attain. And so most of you guys, when we look at the internal qualities that you possess, when you seek to attain your goals at the highest level, you will now be outperforming everyone around you. And it's not an ego thing, it's a fact, because you are actively seeking and attaining and gaining, and they are stagnating and pertaining to nothing. And so what you need to understand is that the qualities that are within you, the qualities within your mind that are high qualities that you use to execute in the way you behave. So the discipline is an internal quality within yourself. The concentration and the focus are all internal qualities. The restraint and the power within yourself to hold yourself accountable is all high qualities within yourself. And when people who do not have those same qualities see something that is drastically outperforming, when the gap is so fucking big that they have to question why the fuck they exist and what the fuck they've been doing wrong this entire time, you will see that since they see you, now they have to perceive every inadequacy and their spiritual depth that they need to pay off through their personal development and the work that they need to do within themselves. You will see that they will try to siphon your attention and shrink you onto the same vibrational state that they are operating from. And so as a high vibrational entity that is diverging its will and pursuing their will in the universe, you have to understand that when these individuals seek to siphon and shrink you, this is where you have to become so fucking, you have to restrain yourself with so much power, and you would do that by simply ignoring them, because you control the fabrics of reality with your mind. What you choose to perceive and the information you choose to receive is what's going to reflect in your outer reality. And so if you feel something, if you see something and it's not what you want to see or feel, well, the power within you is so fucking potent that all you need to do is ignore it and watch as it evaporates and into the abyss that it came from. Watch it dissolve into the void that it's always been, to avoid interacting and being siphoned by something that is outsourced, trying to distract you from living from your purpose, actualizing every single goal on your soul and mind's dashboard, and to just simply ignore the fuck out of these pussy bitches, because you are simply the individual to always come out on top. And power is not only in the physical demonstration, power is not only the excretion of high energetic, high voltage, power, momentum to garner strength with every move and to move tactical and intelligently on the board of life to get to your goals as fast as possible, and to develop yourself into the most formidable, primordial individual, and to simply outperform and outwork every single person in the environment, any environment that you walk into. What we do is personal excellence. And so this is why you have to excel beyond. You need to look at the qualities within yourself. You need to disintegrate every low quality. You need to upgrade every high quality, and then you need to personify and embody even more higher qualities. And as you grow and compound and adapt into the higher qualities, you are literally training your mind to be a higher quality thing. You are the value of life, and the value that you pertain to in your daily existence is directly reflective to the work you put into yourself. And so if you walk around undone and unworked on, well, you are a valueless individual, and you are worth less compared to an individual who will do more, outperform, outwork, and outweigh you in psychic weight from the mental capacity and ability to be a higher quality thing in the universe through its own will. Most of you guys believe that we're going to sit here and try to convince you to change and to get better. We don't give a fuck about how bad you suffer because of your inadequacies. Every negative trait within your mind is going to manifest in external reality. If you lack the discipline, well, that may manifest as you being a fat, addicted piece of shit. If you lack the quality of being disciplined, and you will see, or restraint, if you lack the internal quality of restraint, you will see that you will end up in problems you don't want to be in. You will be seeking to fight and all this violent, animalistic behavior that very stupid people tend to navigate themselves towards, because they lack the restraint to simply shut the fuck up and ignore whatever the fuck is seeking to siphon validation and attention to feel like they have some purpose or some reason to exist. When you are a purposeless creature, you will seek to siphon validation and energy and attention for why you exist because you know deep in your soul you have no reason. And so the only reason you could possibly exist is to, you know, validate yourself through negative behaviors, because you have navigated yourself away from the path. So it's very simple. When you are unfolding yourself to your goals, there will be background noise, as just like the music in this fucking video. But it's you as the individual who has the responsibility to ignore whatever the fuck they don't want to experience in the fabric of their reality. And so most lack the power, because power is influence, and influence simply means to inflow. So the energy and information that you allow to inflow into your mind and then conceive and perceive into external reality, the moment you embody the ignorer archetype, aka you just simply ignore everything you don't want to exist, and you will see that this is a high quality internal trait. When you can ignore, you will see that the focus of your mind, you will see how much more potency your attention actually has. You will see that even at the tip where you feel like you're about to break, when you feel like you're about to explode, but then you restrain yourself, you have to understand that you are actively demonstrating the most difficult task of mankind. You know how much people lack the restraint of self? You know how much times throughout history that empires have fallen because they lack the restraint? You have to understand that self-restraint is such a high quality, and every time you can embody the ignorer archetype, focus on yourself and the goal, and say fuck the background noise, you will see that this is a high quality internal state, culmination of high quality energy, you know, literally high voltage concentration energy, and this will not leak. You are literally, when you restrain yourself, you are not leaking your energy. When you react, you're leaking. Now you're upset, now you're stressed, now you're in anxiety, now you're worried. You have to understand that when you don't leak, you have less problems, and you do that through restraint. And every time you restrain yourself when you feel like you're about to break, well, this is where you see that you are actually accumulating more. Jesus said, you know, I'm not a Bibles man, but I'm a Bibles man. Well, I'm just a smart man. We have to understand that Jesus said, when I feel weak, that is when I'm strong. And when it comes to restraint, that is exactly how it is. When you feel like you're about to explode and then you hold it in, you will see that you have now garnered even more power and strength. And you have literally, they tried to siphon your energy, but you actually just, you know, siphoned his energy and transmuted it into something positive. Because, I mean, on an energetic level, they are just giving you attention, and the mind's at tension, you know, that is energy by itself. And so you're actually just gaining energy and power. And so the best thing to do when it comes to fucking noise is to ignore the fuck out of it and just control your fabric of reality and know that you have the power of your existence. And so if you allow things to make you react to life, well, you're simply just a fucking hominid, and you lack the intelligence of a human to, you know, come to the capacity of mental ability to simply ignore something. Ignoring something is something they should teach you in school. They should teach you higher qualities of self in school, so you're a high quality individual in life. Most of you guys are reactionary, compulsive fucking monkeys, chimpanzee apes that only do nothing but watch porn, hit the vape, watch TV, and be a lazy fuck, and then die a bitch. And so what we need to do is disintegrate the qualities that make you that, and then amplify all the positive and embody even more positive qualities to make you a higher quality individual. And you do that by seeking your goal. You need a purpose for. If you don't have a purpose, you will be navigating yourself around life purposeless. But when you have the purpose that you see for yourself, and you go after that with all your might, and you pursue it like a fucking primordial savage, just decimating any limitation that tells you no, you know, through positivity, you will see the thing that you construct. And as time continues, you will do nothing but compound into more of a beast, savage, freak to get the job fucking done. And so every day when you wake up, remember one thing, that you can always ignore anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or less. And when you do that, you are exercising a very potent, high-quality ability, which is called self-restraint. And this quality itself will stop you from getting in situations you don't want to be in. But not only that, this quality has, you know, the lack of it has made people, you know, collapse empires. And so the restraint of yourself will get you places that, you know, non-restraint, if you lack the restraint, you know, you don't want to be there. And so do yourself a favor and do what the fuck I just said. Peace!